Hey guys! Welcome to our first GuildMag stream. How exciting is this? I'm so excited. So I'm streaming for GuildMag. I'm on the GuildMag page. I don't know which side I think this, what side is it? I think it's on, the chat is on that side. That side. We are on the GuildMag page and this is awesome, right? Yes, so I'm streaming for GuildMag. I'm so happy. I've just gotten so much wonderful news today and really happy. But yes, so we are streaming Guild Wars and you actually can just see my settings. That's lovely for you to see. I'm turning back my music back up. And yes, so we're streaming Guild Wars today, and since it is the first GuildMag Kaysee streams, I have decided to do a Lore and Explore special, which is just focused on Skrit. So I love Skrit. If you know anything about me, I love Skrit. I love everything about them. I know everything about them. I don't think you can know more about Skrit than I do. So we are going to take a little walking visual tour through Tyria and explore the Skrit and their habitats and their lifestyles and their culture. We're going to soak it in and you're going to know more about Skrit than you could have possibly ever hoped to know about Skrit. So I hope this is very interesting for you guys, and I hope that you do enjoy it. I just got to turn my phone on silent because I was silly and didn't do it earlier. Now that is a very silly person. So yes, I'm so excited. So we are going to go in game, and I think we might play with, should we do Kaysee since it is my stream? The problem with Kaysee is she is a berserker and she dies so quickly. But you know what, it is the inaugural stream, so we're gonna go with Kaysee and see how this goes. So welcome to the chat. Please feel free to chat. I will talk to you guys so much. Black Lion Chest says happy time zone specific greeting, everyone. Yes, happy time zone specific greetings. If you are in Europe, it's probably earlier for you, and if you're in America, you are having a very late night. So that is nice. Thank you for being with me, guys. And do feel free to ask me questions about any sort of lore or about what you would like to see. That's great. Also, if you're having trouble seeing the stream, let me know. I'm just going to ask, how is the stream quality in chat, because I have a terrible... Oh, my inventory is very full. I have a terrible history of streams, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes I need to lower my quality because I live in Australia, and I also live in Australia somewhere where there is terrible internet, which is not good for being on YouTube or on Twitch. So I'm getting attacked by someone. Why are you attacking me? That is strange. I didn't think you're meant to be attacking me. Oh, you're a brawler. That's strange. Oh, and I've just remembered I was playing Sims before this, so my key setup is strange. The quality is good. Thank you so much, Black Lion here. Any stuttering? Not my stuttering, stream stuttering. I stutter a lot, but that is just because I'm me. So let's see. I was doing a dungeon run, and I had such bad lag. I actually had to pull out of the dungeon run. I was meant to do all three runs of COE, and I only got to do one in the end. So we're just gonna sell all this other stuff. Oh, I have 20 T-bone steaks. God, I wish that was real. Oh, I would eat all of those T-bone steaks in real life. I love steak. I love meat. I'm a meat eater. So let's go off and start in the only place you can start with Skrit, and let's go to Skritsburg. So let's choose the tunnels waypoint. So this episode is going to be full of stuff. I am going to look like I'm reading stuff, and that is because I've written down a lot of my research, and it is really hard to get it off the top of your head, so I'll be just reading little things that I don't remember. Black Lion Chair says, steak for breakfast would work for me right now. I know, right? I know, like, having meats for breakfast isn't the greatest thing, but I love bacons and eggs and all that sort of delicious stuff. And a former monk says, I haven't had a good steak in a while. Me either. It has been a long time since I've had proper meaty steak. So we're in Skrittsburg. And this is actually, we're going to dive right into the lore, and Skrittsburg is currently the capital. Ooh, let's listen to this.
The king has granted an audience to the outsiders.
Do not be afraid. We are generous. We are wise. We are ready to speak with the outsiders. Approach us.
So that is actually, I'm just going to turn up the sound all the way so you guys can hear the ambient stuff. So that is what you hear when Skrittsburg becomes open to outsiders, and because it can close if the king gets assassinated, because it's in Brisbane Wildlands, and Brisbane Wildlands is full of bandits, Nightmare Court, and Inquest. So one of those three factions will attack Skrittsburg quite commonly, and if he does get assassinated, I think it's the Grey Council, which is this mysterious ruling body of Skrittsburg, will close the door while another king is chosen. So when the doors open, the royal consort will say, raise your ears, the Skrit King has granted an audience to outsiders, and the Skrit King is like, do not be afraid, we are generous, we are wise, we are ready to speak with the outsiders, approach us. So that is really cool. I really like, Skrittsburg is kind of one of the only places in Guild Wars where you can see a real living society of Skrit. There are other places, dens and stuff like that, but they have a very animalistic kind of quality to them, whereas Skrittsburg has this wonderful medieval like society, and it really feels like when you go from each den or city or wherever the Skrit congregate, it really feels like that there's a progression. Like the bigger the grouping of the Skrit, the bigger or the more closer to civilization they get. For example, the smaller ones, you know, they kind of act, for example, if we're using a human analogy like cavemen, that sort of thing, and then the bigger dens, they're more likely to be friendly and you can talk to them and they're all trained and things like that. And then the biggest one, which is Skrittsburg, has this kind of medieval culture to it with consorts and kings and courtesans. They actually have established ruling classes and nobles. But that is getting ahead of ourselves. We should kind of focus on the physiology of Skrit first. Let's try and get a good angle on this Skrit, and so you can have a look at him. It's pretty dark, unfortunately. If I put a lava font underneath him, it might illuminate him not very well. So Skrit are very similar to mice. They kind of look very similar to our mice. They have large eyes, which one supposes that is good for seeing in the dark. They have large ears that help them to hear. You know, in the subterranean, they need like a lot to be able to hear well. The way that they communicate is through rapid chirping and squeaking, which is also called chittering. And the way you can use this is like saying, oh, the Skrit are chittering about you, which I remember from one of my previous streams. Their communication seems like a buzz to humans. To any other races, because it's just going so fast, but to them they are chirping and squeaking, and that is what their language is. They are also capable of speaking common languages. They are bipedal, they walk on two legs like this Skrit is doing right now, and they have opposable thumbs for clasping objects. So that is the general physiology. They are about the same height as the Zura, sometimes a little bit bigger. It's hard to tell because the game really has only 1 to 5 models of the Skrit. None of them are female, you know, that sort of thing. So, yeah, so they have their origin. Actually, I should first speak about their consciousness. Now, earlier I talked about the fact that these Skrit, when they are in smaller groups, they have kind of like a feral kind of caveman quality to them, and that is because the Skrit have a collective consciousness, also known as a hive mind. By themselves, they are very simplistic, and they only have enough to perform basic enough intelligence to perform basic tasks to keep themselves alive, and can barely muster the intellect to speak. But when Skrit group together, it's like collective brain processing power. When they group together, they pull their brain cells together in a certain way, and they become more intelligent. So the more Skrit that are together, the more intelligent they can be, and they become smarter by sharing ideas, thoughts, and opinions with each other through this kind of this buzzing interconnected, like the way that they speak is almost almost telepathic, but not quite. It's a lot to do with sound, it seems. And so by coming together, they can share ideas, become smarter, much like humans, in a sense. When humans get together and we share ideas, we can become better than if we're just by ourselves most of the time. That's not always true, but in colonies of hundreds, much similar to Skrit are said to have the same have intellect to rival the Azura. And a former monk makes a great point that a hive mind or collective consciousness is the reason why they wouldn't really work as a playable race. And I totally agree. That makes me so sad. I would love to have a Skrit as a playable race, but they would need to figure out a workaround. One thing someone suggested once, which I thought was a great idea, was they said the Azura develop a chip or something like that to put in their brain. That means that they're always in connection with other Skrit. Or something like technological, because the Azura certainly have that sort of intellect that could give them constant interaction with other Skrit and make them smart, which is a great idea. I don't know how. Maybe ArenaNet, people at ArenaNet are 10 times smarter than me. Maybe they could come up with a better idea. But this kind of leads me to a really cool story, a very sad story. I don't know where. I think it was an interview or something like that. It's nothing official, but I remember this story from one of the devs or one of the forums, which was basically, I think we'll just roam around while I'm talking, which was basically a group of Skrit came was traveling, and they met some Kodan, and this Skrit became so entranced by the Kodan culture, and he really was interested in it, and he made friends there, and he really didn't want to go, but the rest of his family group, Hive, pack, I don't know what they're called actually, the rest of them didn't want to stay, and they wanted to continue going on, and so the Skrit was left behind. And the story is that he had this big he knew that he would become he would lose himself if he separated, but he really wanted to try, and in the end he just became nothing more than an animal. He didn't really understand where he was or the Kodan, because he had been separated from his hive. He lost all sense of intelligence, because he was so integrally attached to the hive. So we've had some great comments. Abyss Chan and a former monk was said that a group of Skrit is called a scratch. You are totally right. There are places in Tyria that are called something scratch, which means the group of them. So I will remember that a group of Skrit is called a scratch. And Bejora says Enid doesn't seem very interested in adding new races. I think they might be. They definitely have a lot of they were initially going to add the Tengu, and they realized that they wouldn't have enough time, so they've kept all the stuff about the Tengu, like all the models and everything, away to release later. So they might release the Tengu later, but other races, I agree, they don't seem so interested. And a former monk says that this is going back to the hive mind and becoming a Skrit, becoming a playable race. He says that would be a good way to implement hive mind based skills. That would be really cool, like hive mind based skills. Like there's a concept, that when more Skrit get together, the more powerful they get, and so you can imagine an all Skrit dungeon running party, which is they totally wouldn't do, because that is just unbalanced and it's not what they would want to do. But it's a really interesting concept. So that is about the hive mind, and so we'll kind of go on to the origin and history. So I'm just going to wander around as we're doing things. It's easier for me to kind of get the big stuff out of the way, and then we can go around to exploring areas interior. Oh, hello, Mr. Skell. Would you like some of my fireballs? I know you would. So the origin and history of the Skrit is really interesting, and actually, yeah, I think we'll stay in Skrittsburg, I think. So the origin and the history of the Skrit is very much shrouded in history, because the Skrit were a subterranean race. They didn't have any culture on the surface, basically, before Primordius awoke. That is a terrible texture. Look at that. That really caught my eye for some reason. So there's nothing left of them on the surface, and there was also a big problem with the fact that the Azura were trying to exterminate the Skrit. So I think I actually have a quote here which is really interesting. There's a Skrit, veteran leader Sikikata, which I think is in Metrica province. There's a scratch there. Let me see if I can see it on the map. Metrica province, the Anthill. This is actually a Skrit area. I'll go there. And veteran leader Sikita, oh my gosh, I'm so terrible with Skrit names, says, yes, once, not long ago, once, the Azura wanted to make us gone. They didn't understand Skrit ways. Don't understand that they cannot make us gone, not all gone. So this kind of alludes, I should say, to this kind of history that the Skrit and Azura had in the past. They both lived underground, and it seems like they were the most dominant races underground. And if you talk to most Skrit, so most Azura, the way that they talk about Skrit is awful. And if you actually start as a Sylvari, and in the dream sequence, you actually see them, the Sylvari have this memory or this shared consciousness in the dream, which is basically these Azura seeing these Skrit and going, ew, dirty Skrit, and then scaring them off with a golem. And you can there's actually some wonderful comments. Black Line Chest says the Azura were all douchebags when they first came up from underground, and a former monk says indeed they were, remember Gad. It's important to know that they were also douchebags underground. So the reason that they tried to exterminate, they actually properly tried to exterminate the Skrit underground. The reason they said that because of the Skrit's rapid reproduction rate meant that soon the Azura and Skrit were fighting for territory and resources. If you're talking to an Azura, they'll probably say, the Skrit reproduction rate was exponential, and that they couldn't be sustained, so they had to cull their numbers. But if you think about it, it is still a massacre of Skrit. They were trying to prevent overpopulation, and so they killed them all. But the thing is that Skrit are amazing breeders, and they repopulated as fast as the Skrit could reproduce. So, good morning, Lexia. Welcome to the stream. I'm talking all about Skrit. Sorry if I'm just blurting out all I know about Skrit, because I love them so much and it makes me so happy. So yes, we are just talking about the origin and history and the kind of feud that the Skrit and the Azura have. So even though the Azura were trying to exterminate the Skrit could repopulate fast enough to keep their numbers steady. This was all underground before Primordius awoke. But when Primordius awoke, the Skrit fled to the surface, much like the Azura, but they were all separated and panicked from this thing, and from Primordius awaking. So this actually resulted in a lot of them being killed, their intelligence being completely destroyed in a lot of ways. Now we see on the surface there's small pockets of them, but when you think about it, there was probably a lot more together. They were more collective underground, and for a while the Azurians actually believed the Skrit had become extinct, but after some time we discovered that the Skrit were recolonizing all over the surface. So they're really hardy. They're super hardy. Google Lexi says, I love those little critters. I know, how can you not love the Skrit? Especially if you know their history, they're so endearing. And about them spewing up all over Terraria, that is totally true, because if we actually look in the dry, like if we just look on the map, we can see where the Skrit are. Caverns of the Shining Light is a Skrit area with a Skrit queen, but we don't know very much about it. We've got a Skrit king and a Skrit queen, but we don't know much about the queen. There's also Picaroon Scratch has a lot of Skrit. In Brisbane Wilds, the Skritsburg Centre, tons of Skrit. In Metrica Province, we have the Anthill, which has lots of Skrit as well. And I think that's where their base is in. In Caledon Forest, there is some Skrit. There is this area, Ruins of the Unseen. The Skrit have started worshipping this shiny object there, which is a really cool, you can get achievement there. I don't think there's any Skrit on South Sun Cove, but why would Skrit ever want to go to South Sun Cove? For Kaysee Hills, I don't think there's a Skrit thing there. In Queensdale, there are lots of Skrit around in the Windlost Delves. There's Skrit living there. And a former monk mentions Ratatosk in Dredgehaunt Cliffs. Yes, there's actually a lot in Dredgehaunt Cliffs. In Harathi Hinterlands, there's the Feral Dens and the Arculean Digs that has a lot of Skrit there. And I think that's all for there. I think Orboror Caves doesn't have them, I don't think. Snowden Drifts, I don't remember there being very many Skrit. A lot of dredge there. Lorna's path, there's in here, I think the ice, is it here? Yes, Skrit Hill has a lot. I think there's also another one around here. I don't know, but you're just going through the map. In Timberline Falls, there's Fiongula Scratch, which is just like you guys said, Scratch is a good word for them. There's definitely, is there some in Mount Maelstrom? Yes, they're Quandary Scratch in Mount Maelstrom. Spikefire Fen has a lot of Hylic. I don't remember if there is any Skrit. It doesn't really ring a bell. Wayfarer Foothills, don't think there is any there. Frostgorge Sound, don't think so. Some in Harathi, yep, we mentioned that one, the Feral Dens in there. And another one, Fireheart Rise, I don't think so. Diesta Plateau, no. In Plains of Ashford, there is definitely some. I don't think there's a Scratch, but there is, they appear. There's not so many in Ascalon, which is strange. No, actually, I don't think it is very strange, because where is Primordus Awaking? Primordus actually, oh, I can't remember now. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't say sorry, a former monk. There's absolutely no problem. I think I remember Primordus awoke somewhere around here. Yes, because this Azura woke up from Radisum. And no, but Primordus was up here in the far Shiver Peaks. Anyway, I should not talk about it, but I'm sure someone will tell me where Primordus awoke. I can't remember off the top of my head. So just a quick look we had around, we can see that there is tons of Skrit still living on the surface. And a former monk says he's beneath the central chamber in the Shiver Peaks. You're right, you're so totally right. How could I forget that, since the whole transfer chamber is powered by Primordus? Excuse me while I drink some water. So yeah, that is really far Shiver Peaks. Yep, everyone's telling me far Shiver Peaks. So I wonder why there's so many Skrit over here and not very many Skrit over here. But yeah, so there's tons of Skrit everywhere, and they are former monks, which is actually north of Frost Gorge Sound, I believe. So up here, there's the Hall of Monuments, and the Central Chamber was, I'm terrible at geography. Fantasy and real life as well. So up here, but yeah, so I wonder why there's so many Skrit more on this side rather than that side. It could just be a coincidence. But yes, there's Skrit all over the place, and they are not gone despite the Azura trying to massacre them many years ago. So, oh, hello Skrit, a Skrit lobber.
Hey, you smell something?
I love the way they sound. So, one really cool thing about the Skrit is the, I should find a nice place to sit with my, so, because I'm just talking, and I'll just stand here so you can see the glowing thing. Skrit behavior. The behavior of Skrit really largely depends on the size of the colony. Generally, bigger colonies tend to be more refined in their behavior and habits. Skrit are not generally malicious, and they are trustworthy as long as they stay in a group, and there are enough of them so that they can remember the promises they made. It was actually Traherne in one of the Sylvari storylines where the Nightmare Court used the Skrit to form an ambush, I think it was, and Traherne goes, oh, you know, Skrit are not normally devious creatures, you know, they're not normally like this. And I think it was in one of the blog posts where they said as long as they can remember the promises they made, they will keep them. And I think that's really awesome because that shows such a simplistic nature, like that they don't really have the excess brain power to deceive, you know, and they're just sweet in general. A former monk says the destroyer activity in the Tarnished Coast could be related to the battle depths, which is an underground complex in the far Shiver Peaks with portals all over Tyria. That is interesting. A former monk, you know a buttload. It is awesome to have you in this chat. And I just love it when people get together because you can share all sorts of things, because it's really hard for one person to know a lot of things, but when you get together it's a lot of fun. One of my favourite quotes from the blog post is that Skrit would prefer to mooch items off you by convincing that you want to give them the items instead of stealing them. Of course Skrit steal, but I like how they're like, you don't want that, give that to me, you know, like, if you give it to me I'll go away, or something like that. I really like that. Skrit are childish in the sense that they rarely ever plan ahead. They're rarely capable of creating new things. However, in larger colonies such as Skritberg, Skrit's inventive nature seems to really flourish. Skritberg is full of inventors, and we should go back to Skritberg so I can show you all the inventors, because that is an amazing area. There, over here, I had a mental blank there for a second. There's just so much, because they're so close to the Azura there, they've kind of latched onto this, and they steal the Azuran things, and they collect the inquest items, and they tinker with them. And there's an event where, you know, you have to save them from themselves, basically, because they've tinkered with this inquest golem, and it hasn't worked out well for them. So hopefully this is still open, so we can go in and visit the Skrit and the inventors. But Skritberg are very avid inventors. They seem to have like a specialization for inventors, and they've really got some interesting things. Like they've in special techniques to kind of help them get through the difficulties of having a hind mind with inventing. And you can buy little things like a Skrit necklace. And then the person says it looks like it would be a good ring for you, and the other one says, you know, I don't think this would fit on your neck. Which is very true. I just love the little
you got something?
Background information you can get. So let's see what this one says. You're just a normal merchant. But for example, one of the problems of having a hive mind while you're inventing is that retaining ideas on a long-term basis is difficult. Oh no! Oh no, we triggered the event, and I don't want the king to die because I need to talk to him about stuff to show you. He says guards defend the king, but aren't you evil? Oh no, you're good. All right. The ambassador wasn't from Ultra Meta Magicals at all. How could I let myself be tricked by an inquest spy? More importantly, how will I survive this? And now it's my turn to stop the inquest. So yes, retaining their ideas on a long-term basis is difficult when you have a collective mind because your mind is always going other places. And if you're human, you go, oh, I got this idea, and you can keep it for weeks, months, work on it for weeks and months. But that doesn't happen with Skrit because, you know, their minds are always going in different places. So there's actually a guy just down there, and I can't go to him at the moment because I'm busy defending this king. But what they do is they've been able to address this dilemma by stockpiling scrap, so inventors can quickly access materials before they forget their ideas. And so, oh, I better go and kill.
Time to do some real damage.
Do I need to stay over here? Let's see. No. Oh yes. Okay, I'll kill this guy. So yeah. So there's actually a guy over there that's like, yeah. My job is to take care of the stockpiles. So they bring stuff to me, and then when they have an idea, they can come and quickly grab stuff. And originally it was thought that Skrit were not capable of this level of problem solving, but they've actually shown foresight, which is amazing. And this also goes on to agriculture. In the previous blog post, it was said that Skrit were not capable of agriculture, yet in Skritsburg they've shown to have a very primitive form of agriculture, which is grub farming. So what they do is they've been keeping grubs, and they realize that if they kill all the grubs now, the meat will go stale. So they actually keep the grubs alive and herd them and kill them when they need the meat, which is awesome, really awesome. Oh, there's another Azuran diplomat here.
Save me!
Okay, I will. So this is really cool. Like, I feel like the Skrit have really evolved beyond what the writers originally thought the Skrit would be capable. But there's also, like, Skritsburg is full of inventors, and we'll just quickly go and talk to this inventor over here. See if we can find him. They've got well-fed oozers because of all the stuff that they have here. Foreman Rekata. I'm terrible at names. New acquisitions coming in every day. Take a constant upkeep to keep everything organized. When a tinkerer gets an idea, we give them what they need before they forget what they were working on. Sounds like you have a good system going. That's how all the Skritsburg functions. Skrit do better together. We aid each other, make it easy to create, build, work together. That is very sweet. I love the Skrit so much. So yeah, they've made things, and what's he selling?
Greetings.
A rock. Thank you very much. And this guy has a pilotless suit thingy. That looks very Azuran and dredgy, but it kind of looks unique. It looks very Skrit in a sense. And I think this is like on the verge of a unique Skrit technology, I believe. Because this is unlike what we've seen before. It looks very Azuran, but it looks different. And I think this is what they were starting to think of, like the Skrit culture being by itself. And it also looks Azuran. And this kind of leads to my personal theory, which could be completely wrong. But I very much believe that Skrit were very similar to the Azura, as in they were similar in cultures. They were both very technologically advanced cultures, and the Skrit were, because they gathered in such large amounts underground, they were just as smart as the Azura, and they had these own golem things and things like that. And then the Azura, like they are, decided that they were smarter and that they needed the resources more than the Skrit, so it started a war basically. And of course, those sort of facts get twisted in time, especially when the Asura came to the surface. They could create their own history. But that is my own theory. That is it's not 100%. But Skritsburg are full of inventors. There are inventors everywhere, and like you can see this here with the foreman. Further up, there's inventors. In the tunnels the tunnels is where the inventors are mostly are. There's an event where Skrit steal this golem, and you've got to save them from the golem, and you see all this junk around that they've been inventing. And there's really cool dialogue that you can get from people here. So
You bring me something?
So inventor Laurie Pettet, I think that's how you would say it. What to make, so many ideas, and then you can suggest something. So let's try make something fancy with baubles, like a shiny, but many things already sparkle shine. Oh, what if I make a tool that's shines shinies? That would be very popular. Yes, I'd buy that. So yes, they're thinking and they're showing this sort of proactive, trying to invent, which is awesome. But not all the scratches or the groupings of cities of Skrit, that's a lot of Skrit entries in one spot. Not all of them are the same. For example, in Maelstrom, the Quandary Skrit, which we actually mentioned earlier. Let's go there now. This one, they always have a terrible event up here though. They are not only focusing on inventing, but also becoming philosophers and brewers. And unlike Skritsburg, Quandary Scratch is not surrounded by Inquest or Azurans. Sorry if you can hear that. I think someone's taking out the trash. But they're not surrounded by the user, so they're not the supplies for making these really inventive things are not really available. So they've kind of branched out into other things. So they find it difficult and they scavenge for junk and items to tinker with, but they've kind of branched out into other pursuits. For example, there's a Skrit thinker in here that says, and this is very interesting. Oh no, yeah, this scratch has been taken over, so we're going to try and clear out this scratch while I talk. The Skrit thinker in here says, if you learn but don't think, you are lost, yes? But if you think but do not learn, you are still in danger, yes? So that is like quite in-depth thinking for a Skrit, which is very cool. Let's res these Skrit. Oh, actually, I think they're raised up automatically when you kill everyone. See, they've got some stuff here, but not half as much as the Skritsburg. And there's a big area over here where they've just decided to brew alcohol. And there's actually something really interesting about that later on about alcohol, which I'll talk to when I talk about diet next. So let's kill these things. So Skrit are omnivores. They prefer cooked meat and fungi, which is something that they would have gotten underground. But as in the blog post said, the Skrit are too lazy and self-absorbed to maintain agriculture as a food source. But you can see that in Skritsburg this changes after, this has changed because there's so many of them. Instead, they normally forage for foods when they need it. However, large enough colonies are capable of practicing primitive forms of agriculture. So this is in Skritsburg. There is this grub farmer, and you can talk to him. And I think there's a heart there as well. Let me just look on my map. God, I hate it when they say "damn your eyes." It freaks me out. I think it's this. No, I think it's this one here. Help grub farmers in Skritsburg Hillstead. So he actually has a quote which is, "You did a good for us, so I give you advice. For most Skrit, all food scavenge. Make a big pile, food will rot. Many young kits are born. Maybe big pile not enough, but grubs you keep alive. Do not spoil. They make their own kit. We learned this way, not past looking, not now looking. Think of future. Big job like you. Many great things can come. Look at the future. Go forward and towards the great things." It's, oh my god, it's so hard to read their text because it's all over the place. But yes, that is a kind of, it kind of shows you that they're more than what you kind of think they are. They're thinking about their kit, they're thinking about the future, and they're looking towards the future and how to problem solve, which is awesome because you don't really think that they're that good at problem solving, but they really are. So, Skrit like cheese, like most mouse, and I think this is kind of like a joke sort of thing. They have a fondness for cheese. In the Azuran labs, they used a fake cheese to encourage Skrit to participate in logic puzzles. I have to concentrate on this highlight. Oh, that might have been overkill. Yay! So now the scratch belongs to us again, which is awesome. So yes, in the Brisbane Wildlands, in a proxemic lab in Brisbane Wildlands, you can see that a fake cheese has been used to lure the Skrit to complete logic puzzles. But you can just use shinies just as much as cheese. Some Skrit believe that if you are lucky enough to eat a lot of cheese, you'll grow tall, and this is proven by a Skrit called Adu Huket in Skritsburg that says, you tall you are, must eat lots of cheese. Cheese good for talls, I hear. So that is really cute. I like that sort of thing. But you don't really hear it very often. One thing you do hear though is that Skrit love alcohol. They love beer. They and this is up here. You actually find some Skrit that are brewing beer. Brewmaster Chugik. I don't know how to say it. So you talk to him and he says, beer in fine shape, Kaysee. You are very helpful. Okay, yes, we'll tell Chief that packet is good. And you can see that they've started brewing these kegs, and there's kegs here. So unknown. It's an unknown. Oh, that's sweet. Okay, so he's a Skrit lobber that's passed out. But they in Skritburg, they have their own special brew of Skrit called Skritsburg Special. And so that just shows that like the more advanced they get. I'm just going to check something because I think something's making noise. Hang on, I'm not sure if you can hear that. I figured out what it was. It's my husband taking down the Christmas tree. Yeah, so they have, they've brought their own Skritsburg special in Skritsburg, which actually is part of the skill point that you drink there. And I can't remember what it says about it, but it has like a little byline. A former monk also mentions a moot in Timberline Falls. A moot is like the Norn guide of drink up fest with all the hammered Skrits, which we'll go and visit later on. There's a very nice comment. Thank you very much for your Gunnar Peterson. That is very nice. Veldaki Bernach. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for butchering your names. As a rat owner, I love Skrit. Even named one of my rats Skrit. Oh, that is so cool. That is very cool. I like that a lot. Going on about the beer was Skrit are not very adept at moderation, and this can cause a lot of trouble for colonies. They're not really smart enough to be able to measure their alcohol intake. In the Fiongula Scratch, which is I think was the Timberline Falls, yes, Fiongula Scratch, which is here. There's it's a very cool Skrit. There's a lot of events going on in that one. There are many drunk and lazy Skrits due to the divide of opinions in the two Skrit chiefs. So this is a case, I'll talk about the governing systems later, that the Skrit this one has two leaders, and the chief Akita says beer makes Skrit happy, and the chieftain Tinikek says beer is distracting Skrit, work not happening, Skrit must focus. And that is a big problem in that scratch, that there is a problem of alcohol. And so that is a big problem, but it seems that they have most likely adopted brewing methods from other races, particularly Norn. Skrit brewery can often be seen using Norn made kegs, and Skrit can be seen be observed partaking in famous Norn. I think this is the one that a former monk was talking about. Norn Kjærsjad Moot in Timberline Falls. So here is the Norn kegs here that they're using them to make it. And even in Skritsburg they use Norn keg there. And let's go to that moot in Timberline Falls, shall we? So here, this is the Kjærsjad one there, and we'll go there and we'll see there's an event there. Gunnar Peterson thinks the Skrit are the coolest. He's talking that there is also rat races in Warhammer, and he really likes the Skaven, and he says it's the coolest depiction of rat races. So here, let's just go up here. I'm just going to take a quick drink while we do this because my throat hurts after I talk so much. I'm normally a very quiet person. I like to listen more. Oh, here we go. Protect the beer kegs from drunken Skrit. So we have to protect the beer kegs from the remaining Skrit. So let's do that event while we talk. So they are seen in this event, and you can actually hear the revelers of this event saying Skrit sure seem to like beer. So it's very interesting, like, that they like beer so much, but they're not very good at tempering their intake of alcohol. One Velia Kjathornak, I'm so sorry for your name, says that your other rat's name is Queek. That is so cute. Oh, it is awesome. So let's kill these. So their diet is very easy, but I really like the fact that they have kind of adopted, this beer sort of. They really like beer a lot, but they don't know how to temper themselves. So see if we can talk to these buzzed Skrit. So these ones are tempering themselves. They're just buzzed. See if anyone has anything interesting to say. So I might just go on while we finish this event. I might just finish when we finish the event. We might go on to religion, and I'm just going to read a quote from Rhys Sosby in the blog post "Those Sneaky Skrit." These blog posts have been taken down. They are on the Wikipedia for prosperity, but I just thought that this quote kind of sums up everything really nicely. So they say the Skrit have only a faint sense of faith, more sense of an empathy for the world than a belief in a divine source of power. Skrit feel that life exists simply so that one can have pleasant times and good memories. They are hedonists and are willing to gain their comforts from someone else's labor. So that is really cool. I really identify with them in the sense, like, I definitely feel life is just for pleasant times and good memories and that sort of thing. So they're hedonists, and hedonists are people who believe the pursuit of pleasure is the most important aspect of life, which can make them seem very... Oh, this is a tipsy Skrit.
We need beer.
We need beer now.
Tasty beer, yes.
Oh, see, they're asking for the sharing of the beer. That's so sweet. Anyway, so they can seem lazy in the eyes of other races. This is true for the majority of the Skrit, but some colonies exhibit primitive worship practices, and why don't we go to that area that made me think of that, which is in Caledon Forest in the Ruins of the Unseen. So let's go here into Marbot Market. In the Ruins of the Unseen, a Skrit aggressively protect an altar-like room that houses a sacred Skrit shiny, which is like they've kind of started worshipping this shiny, which is really interesting since they don't normally do it, but it just shows that, that they're very diverse and they kind of differ in their habits sometimes. So sorry, I just got an itchy leg. There we go. So let's go and visit that sacred Skrit shiny. And I think this is also part of a an event that you can, achievement that you can do. So there's a heart quest around here, and you have to protect this girl from the aggressive Skrit. See if she has anything interesting. A shiny thing tracker. Don't worry, I won't sell your personal data to another lab. I've heard that lie before. So let's go and find the sacred Skrit shiny. Say that 5 times fast. Sacred Skrit shiny, sacred Skrit shiny, sacred Skrit shiny, sacred Skrit shiny, sacred Skrit shiny. God, that got really hard at the end there. So let's go here. Let's kill these. I don't like killing Skrit, but I guess they started it. You're not gonna die though. Okay, alright, you're dead now. So, yeah, so this is their inner scratch area. And let's just clear it out a little. And they have these, see, he was kneeling down. Oh, I'm gonna get my ass handed to me. Oh, I don't want to die. I'm such a berserker. He was kneeling down in front of these shinies in this thing here. And if we interact, we'll actually get one. And, if we just go here, oh, there's a lot here. I'm gonna get killed, aren't I? And that will destroy that. So let's just protect ourselves quickly. Yes, let's kill them. So yeah, so they were kneeling down. So they were worshipping that shiny. And if you go in here, you will actually find this little hidden area. Just heal myself up a little bit. The Eye of the Unseen, this is very odd. I don't really know if this is just an Easter egg or this has any lore implications, but these, I don't think the Azura would have made these things, and this area was definitely made by the Skrit. You can see by the architecture on the wall. And so they repurposed these Azuran golems to protect this sacred Skrit shiny. Let's take this splendid chest. And so they worship this thing, and it is very interesting. I don't know about this area. I don't know. My theory is basically they kind of created their own cult like humans do, basically. So when you touch it,
Sweet
the statue seems different, sacred somehow, or maybe just a little shinier. As you approach, you can't shake the feeling you are being watched. Tempt fate, let's break the statue, and then this happens. And basically these eyes of the unseen attack you. Oh god, those beams do a lot of damage. Yeah, so that's very interesting. That's a little bit of religion, you know. This is very unusual, that's for sure. So we're just gonna hang in this corner and get a nice view. So we're gonna move on to Skrit relationships. And Velda Kianok says a very good point. Rats are indeed hoarders, though cheese is unhealthy for rats. That is very. There's a lot of things like that. Like milk for cats is not very good unless you give them milk from birth, because they're actually lactose intolerant. So Skrit relationships. So let's talk about. Oh, okay, so a former monk has some awesome lore. God, thank you so much, a former monk. This particular area is the ruins of the Temple of Unseen from Guild Wars prophecy, which would suggest the shiny has ties to Masat. So that is really interesting. I don't know if this is like lore canon, like it's actually tied to the Masat, or it's just like a tip of the hat to Guild Wars 1 players, but that is super interesting. Thank you so much for mentioning that, former monk. So going back to Skrit families, surprisingly, Skrits have nuclear family structures, including a mother, father, and children. Skrit females give birth to litters of 3 to 5 times in their lifetime. Skrit offspring are called Kit, and despite having a lot of children, Skrit parents are known to love and pamper them. They seem to have no social distinction between male and female. Skrit relationships also seem to loosely follow human conventions such as remaining loyal to your partner and offspring. So this is kind of a really unknown law, the fact these family structures, and this is you can only get this information by actually being really attentive to Skrit dialogue in game. For example, when you're doing an event in Metrica Province, which is captured, there's this horrible area in Metrica Province, what's it called, the Voloxian Labs, which is here. They go and oops, I've got something wrong here, hang on, there we go. I'm gonna just teleport out of here because I'm bad like that. In the Voloxian, the Brill Alliance Labs, they capture Skrit and do experiments on them, and when you capture the Skrit, the loner Skrit says, "I swear I didn't know she had a family, I'll make up for it." So when you're capturing him, he kind of says they say these random things that they think they're getting in trouble for, but it's, you know, so he actually shows that they have a idea for family and, you know, cheating partners and that sort of thing. Which is really awesome. We'll stay in here because if this event triggers, it's very cool to see. And after this event has just been done, because this merchant gives you Skrit wafers for experimental Skrit wafers. So Skrit love. Skrit are capable of having relationships and having romantic connections very similar to humans. They experience both infatuations and the nervousness associated with trying to form a romantic bond. It is uncertain and improbable that these sentiments persist when a Skrit is separated from his group and loses his higher cognitive functions. This is awesome. I love the fact that these Skrit, like, they think they're so dumb and that you can just kill them because they're, you know, just Skrit. They don't really have any sort of intelligence, that they are capable of this very deep love. And when you free a Skrit in I think it's in the Brisbane Wildlands, where is it? Over here somewhere. It's not here, it's here. In the NRAV exploration post, which is actually an Inquest outpost, they capture Skrits and start to do experiments on them. And when you free the Skrit thanks you and he goes, "Free! Yes, go home, see my love, heart filled with joy. Many thanks, must go. Yes, now." That is awesome, I think. And there's also another instance of love, which is in the tunnels, which we're going to go there, which is basically a Skrit who is pining over this other Skrit and thinking about how he would love to be with this Skrit and thinks that she's so beautiful. So we're going to quickly go find this Skrit because he has wonderful dialogue. And a former monk, it says, "Interesting, makes me want to write a Skrit-centric fan fiction." Oh yes, I would love that. Oh, I would love that. A Skrit romance would be very cool. But we're gonna go and talk to this romantic Skrit up here who doesn't know how to tell his love that he loves her, which is super sweet. And we're not gonna antagonize these well-fed oozers. So they're up here by a waterfall, I believe. Yes. So here we talk to Drizel, and Drizel says, that's the girl. So let's talk to the Trisnark first. Ooh, never seen fur so shiny and smooth. The way her nose twitches and her ears, like her more than a power bubble. Does she feel the same way? Don't know. Have any advice? So let's say to her, don't tell me how silky her fur is. Tell her, charm her. Ooh, not normally how we do things. Like looking at her silky fur. Maybe she likes having it too. Something to talk about, yes? I hope so. So that's really sweet. And if we talk to her, Dresendel, Trisnark's so strange. Asked me to come here, but then he stands and stares. Makes me twitchy. Speaking of strange, I don't understand these oozes. Don't they usually try and kill people? Oh, that. We capture oozes, bring them here to eat unfixable junk. Too busy eats to attack us. They still don't like to be touched, so be careful. So that is really sweet. So that is super sweet. The two of them together. I really like that. And a former monk says, reminds me of the Guild Wars Eye of the North quest where a guy Zero wants bigger ears to impress ladies. I didn't have Eye of the North. That is awesome. I did not know about that one. I wonder if there's spam messages that a Zero get, like, do you want bigger ears? Try this bigger ear pump or something like that. Or maybe that's a little bit too it's a bit too risky for this stream. But that is very cool. So yeah, so they have a lot of love. Skrit hierarchy. A smaller group of Skrit hierarchy. In a smaller group of Skrit, the hierarchy is non-existent. I should actually quickly mention, normally my stream would end here, but since this is my first stream of on GuildMag, I'm willing to go a little bit longer so we can kind of finish this Skrit. I guess it's turning kind of into a visual podcast sort of thing. But I'm just willing to go a little bit longer. I hope that doesn't bother you guys, but normally it would end. Normally I only stream for an hour, but let's continue. In smaller groups, Skrit hierarchy is almost non-existent. The Skrit who exchange information the fastest, for example, when they communicate to each other, they chitter and they exchange information and ideas, and the ones that are the smartest and the fastest become generally an automatic leader of the group and tend to follow, and the other Skrit tend to instinctively follow their leadership. However, in larger communities such as Skritberg, a medieval-styled class system arises. The leader is named as king. And the remaining Skrit are separated into courtiers and commoners. So the leader of this, so the social stratification. Can we get through? Not through here. We have to go down a little bit. Social stratification seems to be dependent on the Skrit's intelligence. The smarter becoming nobles or courtiers, and the nobles are allowed to wear nobility emblems and adorn themselves with special ornamentation to display status. They start showing a dignified and aloof disposition, and also enjoy the privilege of not having to forage for their food. So this is really interesting, and I think these noble Skrits are over here. What do you sell? You sell a gear. Thank you very much. So let's see. These are courtiers over here, and they have really cool dialogue. I think they're going to talk now. Yes, they're probably walking off to talk. So we'll hear this in a second. I'm not creepy at all. I'm just following you guys. Not creepy. Can you just talk, please? Can you stop walking and exchange dialogue?
So, I was talking to the king the other day.
Really? So was I.
How privileged we are.
That is really cool. Like, they talk about, oh, how privileged we are. And they also talk to each other about other things. One of the Skrit courtiers says, this is a quote I have, try to look more aloof. Your displays of sentiment are undignified. I think these same Skrit that talk to each other say that. And there's also a vendor around here somewhere. Where are they? Somewhere around here. I don't want to leave because I think they might talk again.
Look at them down there, scurrying, scavenging.
Makes my heart swell with pride.
Try to look more aloof. Your displays of sentiment are undignified.
So that is really interesting, like, that these Skrit have better speech patterns than most of the other Skrit. Especially the foragers, they have better speech patterns, definitely have better speech patterns than the foragers. And they kind of have these sentiments of looking aloof, and they've got privilege and stuff like that, which is awesome. You know, this really is the starting of a very civilized society. And I think the Skritsberg special is up here as well. Yeah, there's a keg of Skritsberg special. I think they might say something again over here, so I'm just gonna hang around them. But in other...
Day is simply beastly.
could be worse. We could be scavenging in the trash heap all day.
Indeed, status has its privileges.
See, she just used the word beastly, which is amazing. These Skrit are definitely smarter than most of the other ones. So obviously the smarter ones become the courtiers. I can't remember where this vendor is, but there is a vendor that sells items of emblems of nobility, and they have like little things. Here we go. Maybe this is him. No, I don't think he is. But let's talk to him anyway. The Donk. That is a name you want. The Donk. And he has planks, so it makes sense. But yes. So let's move on to interspecies relationships. So Skrit seem to be the underdog interior. They're universally picked on, and they have Azura have a long-standing hatred for the Skrit. Let's just look down at this lovely place. Is it him that has the shine? Let's talk to him actually. Whee! What do you have? Oh no, we've already talked to you. They're picked on. The Azura still experiment on the Skrit more than you would really think is okay. There's still lots of experimentation going on. Hiya, Angel! Welcome to the stream. It's really early for you, isn't it? Thank you for coming here anyway. So they still do experiments on the Skrit, even the non-inquest Azura, which really shows that the Azura would really have a really thin line on what is okay to experiment on, what is not. The Char also see the Skrit as pests, only to happy the aid of the extermination of the Skrit. It seems the only race that really has sympathy for the Skrit are the Sylvari, but unfortunately the Skrit are very commonly taken as victims of the Nightmare Court, and you can definitely see that a lot in Brisbane Wildlands. The Nightmare Court take a lot of Skrit in to do not very nice things to them. There's a quote from Krating. I don't know where this is from, but they said, "If we don't stand up for ourselves, who will? Others look down on us. They treat us like common rats, but we're not. We think, we feel." And I think that's someone in Skritsburg. Velda Kainach, I'm so sorry for butchering your name. The Azura used to experiment on the Sylvari when they first met. That is completely right. And I wonder why they let the Sylvari go, but they still experiment on Skrit quite a lot as well. That is very odd. And Angel actually makes the point, yes, that they turned out to be evil Sylvari. Evil Azura, sorry. I think Kudu was is the head of I'm not sure what happened to him. Is the head of the Crucible, the Inquest. Sorry, he's the head of the Inquest, and he was one of the first to experiment on the Sylvari.
Yeah, it's making me nervous.
That's cute. And there's a lot. And Velda says it's understandable that the Sylvari feel connected to the Skrit, because they both were experimental, and that's really interesting. A former monk says it's probably the Inquest, the Azura probably experiment because the Skrit are easier to oppress. That is so true. And Radu, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for coming. It is awesome to have you here. I hope it's not too early or late wherever you are. And Velda also says that Skrit are sentient, not too bright, and there's a lot of them. Perfect test rats, pun unintended. Yes, it's very sad because we've talked about how much Skrit can love and feel, and they have family units and they have kids and they love to lavish their love on their children, and they're a lot smarter when they get together. And if you want to see this this thing of like experimenting and how they get smarter together, there's that Brilla Line slab that we went to earlier in the stream, which is just here, the Vloxian Passage, Brilla Line slabs. if you go there, there is an event chain where you go, you help them get Skrit in the Serpent Wind. Actually, I forgot that there's actually Skrit in here. You go in here, you help them collect Skrit, you go back, and then they start asking them questions, asking them like what's 10 times 10 or something like that. And the Skrit like are they just don't know, and then all of a sudden the Skrit's like the Skrit speak perfectly, and they're answering all the questions, and they're like, you know, we're sick of you keeping us locked up, get 'em boys, and there starts this event where the Skrit are basically taking over the lab, and unfortunately you have to help the Azure take back the lab. I think the Skrit should have did the right thing and they deserve that lab, but what can you do? My voice is getting so sore. I've been doing a lot of YouTube videos lately and talking every day. I don't normally talk this much, so my throat is paying the price. So moving on to architecture. So the Skrit have no specific architecture style, but that doesn't mean that their buildings are not unique. It is so easy to tell the Skrit architecture apart. This higgledy-piggledy, you know, using other things to make their architecture. You can see here they're using plates of metal that have been used elsewhere, cogs. This is Azurin, and all sorts of things all mashed together. It is an amalgamation of different scavenged material brought together. Skrit frequently like Azurin technologies, mostly to its shiny nature, and a lot of Azurin things can be seen littered around the place. And Skritsburg, the king's throne, is adorned by large glowing Azurin lights, which we can go and see down here. And also, this is a really cool Skrit here. This is Sir Jonka, and this is the jousting stuff that was taken out of Divinity's Reach. And you talk to him and he goes, as far as I can tell, these legless horses were used by humans for jousting. At least that's what I overheard from the sewers in Divinity's Reach as they were being discarded. And what are you going to do with them? I'm comparing them with this picture book I also found in the sewer. Sir Skippy's Big Fun Day is our foremost source on jousting. I'm sure you'll learn a lot. That is awesome, I think. But yes, we were going to the King's Throne. So this is clearly Azurin technology, but they've kind of repurposed it, and that kind of melds into their architecture. And you can see a lot of it in here in Skritsburg. A former monk says, I believe ramshackle is the term that you're looking for. I've never heard the word ramshackle, but it sounds awesome. I'm going to Google that right now. Ramshackle. I've never heard that. A ramshackle, especially of a house or vehicle in a state of severe disrepair. I've never heard that before. I love the synonyms for this. Tumble down, dilapidate, derelict. I got it in the end. Killchain says, hey Kaysee, what's your upload speed? I'm from Australia too. I'm in a very bad area for internet. I don't have any of the broadband or anything like that, and my upload speed is terrible. I have a terrible time with streams because sometimes they're really painful to watch because they're so stuttery. I'll ask my husband, ask him what my upload speed is. Sweetheart?
Less than 1 megasecond.
He says less than 1 megasecond. Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
He says our upload speed is less than 1 megasecond, which makes me cry because it's very painful to do videos and stuff like that, but I persevere on. About the horses, a former monk says, which is, where is it? As far as we know, there are no horses in Tyria. There are an undead horse in Guild Wars 1, and there are centaurs, but we see both in games that no living horses. There's something really interesting. I just get my book here. In the making of the Guild Wars 2 book, they talk about audio that they get that they've gotten in the game. I'm trying to find it, and they talk about like how they, you know, work so hard on the audio. I hope you can't hear me flicking through this book. They worked so hard on the audio and stuff. And don't get me wrong, the audio is amazing in the game, but the picture that they added when they say, you know, getting the audio made me giggle so much. Let me try and find it. I bet you I'm not going to be able to find it because I'm pressure. Oh no, I found it. So this is the audio team. Take note, Hero of Tyria, as you know that nearly every sound you hear in Guild Wars 2, from birds chirping in the windblown trees to the clang of bandits' sword against your shield, was captured and handcrafted by Renet's 5-man studio audio team. But I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna have to get up my stream. Sorry if you heard that thump. The picture that they've got in the book is of a horse, and they've got a microphone up to a horse, and I was just like, what? Why is the one picture that you got of you capturing noise a horse when there's no horses in the game? There's centaurs, and that's probably what they got the noise for. But why particularly? Like, there must have been other photos you could have taken, but that just made me laugh. And a former monk also says, I can't believe you've never heard of the term ramshackle. Well, I'm sure I'm going to start spouting weird words that you never heard before. I've made up my own words before. Yes, so we're still talking about horses in the chat, talking about the Necrid Horseman in Guild Wars 1. So there's obviously horses in this universe, but they just didn't want to animate them and put them in the game, which I totally understand. So we were talking about architecture, and on to the last topic, which is government. So here we can see a Skrit King here. We're going to sit next to the Skrit King while we talk about government. The government, generally the smartest Skrit in a group of Skrit becomes the group leader. It's the leader's job to help the Skrit of the group survive and flourish. However, the number of leaders depends on the group. It is possible for colonies to have 2 to 3 leaders or chiefs. In Skritberg, they have a Skrit King who expresses a desire for Skrit to become more than just scavengers. And there's a quote from the Skrit King that says, I am the king of Skritsberg Center. I rule over the Skrit here. I guide the city and help make sure that what we build together thrive, become more than scavengers. And that is really awesome. You know, they have this desire to be more than anything else. And this jumping char in front of me, I know exactly who that is. That is Rowan, probably telling me off because I'm not representing the GuildMag. He says, I'm not photobombing, promise. Valiant, I know exactly what you're doing. So invite to party, there we go. Hi Rowan, haven't seen you in the chat. Are you just lurking in the chat? I bet you are, aren't you? So about the government, there also is a really interesting quote that was, when the king dies, a royal guard captain says, no, the king is dead, seal the city and gather the Grey Council. So the city, when the king is not in charge, they have a Grey Council, and the Grey Council is summoned in a crisis situation, but there's so little known about this. Yay! There is Valiant. He is on chat, lurking on the GuildMag account. It's good to see you, Rowan or Valiant. I'm glad you made it. I'm surprised you're up. I thought you would be still asleep. It is early. You always complain that you wish you were asleep at this time. But so there's little that we know about the Grey Council and the Skrit that are there. Alternatively, Rata-Osk, a Skrit colony in Dredgehorn Cliff, relies on a speaking place. In this speaking place, Skrit come together and share information and learn. It is likely that the Skrit community uses this place and their decisions made. Now, this is not 100% confirmed, but this speaking place, they have a lot of people there and there's elders there, so it makes sense that there would be decisions for the Skrit that are made there. And there isn't actually a chieftain that I know of in the Ratosk colony. So that is all that there is for government. And there's just a few trivia points that you might like. Skrit have a propensity to train and keep pet morels Morellos as pet. They're those awful skinless bear thingies that rangers can get. And this is their affinity to these morellos is most likely because of their time living in the depths of Tyria. I think morellos mostly come from the depths of Tyria because they're furless and they have bigger eyes, which are good for, and they look like they live in very subterranean terrains. Another trivia point I have is the Derman Priory has a field guide to Skrit. Has written a field guide to Skrit, and I think it is, where is it? It's somewhere in Dredgehaunt Cliffs, the person who wrote it, and there's a little heart quest that you can do with them here. I think it's, if you go here, let's talk to the person there. I think they give you like a little quote, and I'm going to go see if we can find it. So yeah, there's not really very much else. They have really cool names. Skrit have very cool names. Can you enter here? Let's see. For things, for example, gunpowder is called boom powder. A mirror is called hard water. This changes from script to script, you know, it depends on what they know, how smart they are. Azura can be called floppy-eared science people. Undead are called rotting people. I think centaurs are called forelegs. A Silvari hound is called a grass wolf. And dwarves are called roly-polies. Now, that is awesome. I feel like that name has some history behind it of when they were still living underground. Sorry, my voice is giving out because I'm talking so much. I'm scared one day my voice is going to give out completely. So I don't think this is the person that we talked to for the manual. But they have a very shiny thing. Skrit are highly... Oh no, this is it. This is quotes from the Derman Priory Field Guide to Skrit. Skrit are highly attracted to shiny things. Some postulate it is due to their enhanced subterranean vision. A Ratatosk pistol. In most cases, Skrit weapons are cobbled together from random sources. Operate with caution. There's a rifle here. These sometimes misfire due to the Skrit's inability to maintain them. So there's a field guide on it. That's awesome. Yeah, so that is my all I know about Skrit. That is pretty much all you need to know. I guarantee now you know more about Skrit than the average person. You now know that they have family structures, nuclear family structures. They feel love. They feel nervousness when trying to form a new romantic connection. They have family. They feel an obligation to family. They want to grow and become bigger and better things. You also know that this war between the Skrit and the Azura happened, and the Azura claimed that they were killing the Skrit because of resources. You know so much about the Skrit now. It must blow your mind, and you can impress people with this. And so next time you see Skrit, you will know so much history about them, and that they are so much more than just like little annoying things. They have a massive history and they are awesome, and I really want the Skrit to become a playable race, but I doubt it will happen, but I live in hope. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a bit longer, half an hour longer than I would normally do. I'm gonna get out of here because there's so many spiders. And I hope that it wasn't too boring for you guys. There was a lot of talking rather than playing. I think normally I would do a little bit of more playing than talking about lore, because I just stand around and just doing all that stuff. However, if you did enjoy this format, please let me know, because I'm more than willing to do this sort of podcasty information sort of thing every week to go and explore areas and to, for example, we can go and explore the High Lake and do the same sort of thing. So if you do like that, please let GuildMag know, because then they can tell me to do more of that sort of stuff, and then we can do requests, and you can request what you would like for me to do information on. However, if you just prefer me to do the normal playing around, attacking things, that is totally fine as well. And I should wrap up this outro. Thank you for all the wonderful comments about the podcast. it was really nice to have a lot of people here, a lot of regular people, Angel, Black Lion Chest, that Shaman, and new people, oh, and also Goodwill Lexi on our normal ones, former monk, and then new people like Luna Nacht and all people. Thank you so much to everyone. I really love having you guys talking to me while I'm doing the stream, and I should finish this up. I'm just all full of love and I just want to share my love to everyone. But I had a great time, guys. I will see you next time. I will be streaming the exact same time for GuildMag next week, and I hope I will see you then next time. Bye, guys.